they didn't say it was conclusive. I'm not saying it's
conclusive. You just said it was. You just said it was conclusive.
I just said the opposite, my friend.
So if it's not conclusive, then I don't care.
Stop. I can't help that you don't care.
I don't care about non-conclusive science. Why do you?
Okay, fine. You don't have to care.
Andrew Wilson demolishes lunatic leftists, leaving them speechless once again. Now, this is nothing new with Andrew Wilson, how he often does with lunatic leftists, as you may see here on the screen. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of lunatic leftists are sick of Andrew Wilson and his, thoughts and political rhetoric and stuff, as they call it, where they basically have a hard time, either accepting or just refusing to agree with him and on these different subjects. And these lunatic leftists are the reason why a lot of people are leaving the left, or at least the Democrat Party. Now, here we are with Andrew Wilson debating other people on this particular podcast and stuff, where Andrew Wilson, as you all may know him from podcasts like, Fresh and Fit, as well as whatever podcast and stuff, where Andrew Wilson actually debate on a litany of different topics. And in this particular one, he's leaving lunatic leftists being left speechless. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. If you enjoyed what's being shared in the video, go ahead and smash the like button and share the video for our wide across social media. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, click bell notifications, so that way you're notified of future uploads and updates. Let's go ahead and get right into it.
Almost always are assertions. You're going to talk about brain scans. That's inconclusive too. Almost everything that you're going to bring up is totally inconclusive. Currently, we have two different standards which we're looking at. We have the British standard. We have we essentially have the Western standard, and then we have the non-Western standard, even though these are Western nations. And I can pull these up. Where here it's okay to do the affirming care as a kid, and it's recommended. In other places, that is not the case. So this is current literature. It's inconclusive. We actually don't know. We don't even know if the affirmative care, and by the way, this was the warning conservatives gave, and it was even the warning some gay activists gave, is that you have to be very careful about saying it's conclusive, that affirmation and affirming care, right, conclusively means that there's going to be a long-term risk reduction in suicidality. We now know that is not the case. However, we don't know why that's not the case.
Okay, I am not conclusively saying that trans affirming care is always the right decision.
Right.
I am acknowledging, if you'd let me, I am acknowledging that there are two different branches of study on this that come with opposite conclusions. That's not a reason to stop or ban trans affirming care. That's a reason to gather more data, right? Well, we have evidence that it does help. If you stop care, you could potentially be making the problem worse. If you have care that reduces suicidality in trans youth, you have to acknowledge that if you're going to stop that care, you're going to have higher rates of trans.
But the problem is, versus hard science, where you can come to real conclusions, in soft sciences, you don't actually know that you're not just using these kids as experiments. They're like a petri dish for you. So essentially, as a petri dish, you're like, well, we'll try this and try that. We're going to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. You also have, unfortunately, in the trans movement, you have a big problem with certain groups who often fund these studies, or who are often at the forefront trying to make advocations, who aren't even scientists. I mean, some of them are like fucking plastic surgeons and shit. Like they're not real scientists who are the head of...
a plastic surgeon can't do research?
Stop. Let me finish. I don't think that you would want a plastic surgeon to be giving you medical advice about heart surgery, okay? I don't think you would. So the thing is, like, maybe you can say that you would. I wouldn't believe you. Most rational people wouldn't. I guess you can say that you would. But ultimately, what I'm telling you is that there's multiple different standards for looking at this. None of it's conclusive. Because it's not conclusive, you're actually asking us to make our children into petri dishes. That's what you're actually requesting. You say that this is a fight over sovereignty and over control. I would actually say that you're right. If it is a control over the family, then, and you say a person should have a right to allow their child to do gender affirming care, shouldn't a person have a right to also tell them they can't?
I want to jump over to either Classy or LSP, and then we definitely have to jump over to Josh. Josh, I know you had something you wanted to say earlier in it, so I do want to make sure, though, that I get the left side first, so that we're...
Okay, good. Yes. I'm not against people saying that they can't. I'm not saying the government shouldn't be involved. I'm saying the government needs to be involved in a more precise way than outright bans, right? I'm not in favor of giving people trans affirming medical care if they are in fact not trans. If you think that's my position, that's not my position. I don't believe this care should be given to people who don't need it. But for the people who do need it, it is shown to help them. It is shown to reduce their rates of suicidality. If you get rid of this care, their rates of suicidality will go up. I'm going to read.
Here's the thing, though. When it comes to this kind of gender-affirming mutilation stuff like that, we've been seeing more cases of people actually out there who, like, the rates of suicide have started to not only increase, but also other mental health effects and stuff starting to increase as well. And then it's like they're going to, the lunatic leftists and stuff are arguing over, you know, how them taking it away will actually increase that. But in reality, you got more of those who are actually deciding to go ahead and detransition further because the effects of the different fluids and antidotes and stuff, whatever they call it and stuff, estrogen or testosterone, whatever, and everything that's given to them, as well as the other drugs, that's what's increasing the mental health effects and stuff. That's what's increasing suicidal tendencies. That's what's increasing the risk of suicide, which driving more people to go ahead and commit and basically take their own lives. If you don't believe me, go ahead and ask Chloe Cole and stuff and see what she has to say, because she's a detransitioner and stuff. But the thing is that these woke lunatic leftists here are arguing for this because of the fact that the matter is they're stating that there's data out there that's proving that, you know, take it away and it's going to go ahead and just simply, you know, increase the likelihood of one taking their own life. But the fact that the matter is that this individual didn't even present that particular data or any evidence to go ahead and make their argument like actually factual.
Rates of suicidality go back up anyway.
Buddy, I let you talk.
But they go back up anyway.
Babe,
I don't understand the argument.
I let you talk. The American Medical Association strongly supports access to evidence-based gender-affirming care and has taken steps to oppose political interference in medical decision-making. The AMA highlights that gender-affirming care can be life-saving, particularly for transgender youth. I'm reading their statement here, who face elevated risk from mental health challenge and suicidal ideation. Now, I can believe the American Medical Association, or I can believe that guy on the internet.
Well,
yeah, but your argument are for those who are, you know, plastic surgeons. You just basically met from American Medical Association, which have scientists.
I mean, first of all, citing the AMA is also saying that right now it's inconclusive, that their research is inconclusive. This is noted that it's inconclusive. Here's why. Suicide attempts post-transition in a 10-year period after are 20 times the normal suicide rate of an average person. Is 0.6%. So the thing is like they're pretty much on track with how they were pre-care. That's why it's inconclusive. Now you look at the middle and you say, but because we don't know, we should continue, right? But that's not scientific. That is the opposite of scientific. So you can't say that because we lack evidence, we should continue until we have evidence to the contrary. That would be absurd. That would be the opposite of anything that you and I would consider the scientific method. So since that's true, and it is true, and I can give you the studies on it right this second, if you'd like, you can look it up, the suicide-related outcomes following gender-affirming treatment. It's very simple. Now, we have other nations now which are saying, they're adopting a standard saying when it comes to affirming care, if your kid comes to you and says, I'm trans, for instance, instead of affirming that they're trans, you can actually say, hey, look, okay, you're wearing a dress, right? You know, go put on boy clothes, something like this, and that the outcomes might actually be better, right? This is what happens when you have inconclusive science, and you're letting, by the way, the American Medical Association, and I think even you would agree with this, is part of a political body at this point, and it's influenced by politics, and it has been influenced by politics for a long time. The idea that you're going to take these social soft sciences and then pretend that they're hard sciences is absurd. It's absurd. What you have is an affirmation bias. You want it to be true. And so you're going to, like many of the advocates do, fight tooth and nail to make sure that it is, regardless of what the actual science says, which is inconclusive. It's inconclusive. So stop telling me what we need to do as a matter of policy or not do as a matter of policy when you have inconclusive science, sir.
Oh, Andrew Wilson with the win, left them all completely speechless. Now, the crazy part about it is that Andrew Wilson is definitely right about this. You see, he's showing how these woke lunatic leftists up here are actually sharing how basically they're saying that the thing is not enough evidence and stuff because it didn't give the results that they wanted. Okay, and until they get the results that they want, they said go ahead, continue with it while the whole evidence is inconclusive and stuff. And if it's inconclusive, that means it cannot be carried out anything further because it's not going to change at all. I mean, that's basic science right there. That's basic. It's like biology labs or physics labs and all of that, you know. And it seems to me that, you know, they're having a hard time actually accepting what Andrew Wilson is actually stating here. And Andrew Wilson even presented evidence with the different case studies as well as the data that was provided and everything from the same AMA and everything. And Andrew Wilson left them completely silent with facts.
Okay, the American Medical Association statement wasn't that trans care is not conclusive. That was not their claim. Their claim was that care can be life-saving for transgender youth. That's their claim.
And yes, doing a lot of heavy lifting.
That sounds like you trying to make it sound like that sounds like you saying that that's the conclusive part right there, when in reality, they never made any such claim.
Yeah, of course, Can's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Not all people are trans. Misdiagnoses happen. I don't know what you're arguing against, but
then show me the conclusion then.
They didn't say it was conclusive. I'm not saying it's
conclusive. You just said it was. You just said it was conclusive.
I just said the opposite, my friend.
So if it's not conclusive, then I don't care.
Stop. I can't help that you don't care.
I don't care about non-conclusive science. Why do you?
Okay, fine. You don't have to care. What I'm saying is the American Medical Association is saying one thing about this, and it's your place, guy on the internet who's not convinced to intrude into my child's healthcare opportunities. That's what I'm saying.
Do you have children?
You don't belong.
Do you have children?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I have children too. And the thing is that if it is sovereign to the idea that you are in charge of your child's healthcare decisions, if you want to go and like cut off little Johnny's wing because he thinks that he's a girl, I don't fucking give a shit, right? It's just one less reproductive mentally ill dead end, right? I don't care, right? It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. However, don't try to tell me that it's scientifically informed because it's not. It's inconclusive. The science on this is totally inconclusive. And by the way, it's going to be inconclusive for a long time because it's basically a brand new phenomenon. Now, you can say, no, it's hundreds of years old. No, we only really started to dive into this phenomenon recently. We're talking, medical research on this as far as the LGBTQ groups getting involved and starting the mass funding, things like this, about 15 years, not very long. Okay. And when we were looking at longitudinal outcomes, meaning elongated outcomes over long periods of time, we are simply not there to have conclusive data on this, man. So I don't know. Just don't tell me it's a scientific consensus or a scientific conclusion, but rather you just want to cut off your kid's wiki if you want to. And it's like, I could at least accept that argument. That at least is better than the one you're giving.
So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts you might have on this particular topic. If you enjoy what I said in this video, go ahead and smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications so that way you're notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.